Hi everyone, this is Cassie Grimes and my horse Spirit for our first submission of Associate Trainer for Art2Ride. This is just a quick overview of Spirit. That's my friend Emily. She's helping me videotape this video. Spirit is a Morgan Thoroughbred. He's a rescue horse, so we've had some issues when we first got him, and now most of those issues are gone. And the only issue left is that spine, as you can see, and this is something that we've been constantly working on, but it's just extremely hard for him to do these exercises to stay rounded, per se. And here we begin our work in hand. And in work in hand, you want to walk beside your horse at a good rhythm and a good pace that they need. And Spirit has a very free-moving walk. And the only thing that we were missing was getting him to use his back and his hindquarters to move himself instead of just pulling with his front. As you can see, he's still doing that quite a bit, where his front legs will actually extend farther than his back, and they'll literally just pull him along versus him using his hindquarters. But as we go through this, that will start to change, and usually towards the end of our workout, I usually have my horse working correctly. But as we warm up, I don't expect a lot. We have been doing this training method for about 2 years, and really it's just taking him that long to figure out what I'm really asking of him. And I turned around and smiled right there. He's stretching really nice down into this bit right now, and also the mistake I'm making right now is letting my reins go loose. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that you keep that contact in them there. See, Spirit saw an opportunity to want to trot, and I don't punish him for that. He just feels good to trot, and something probably was outside that door. I don't remember. We did this video a week or so ago, and I don't remember exactly everything that happened outside those doors. Here I asked for a little bit of a yield over to the door. And again, our goal is, when we work in hand, is to not only show our horses, kind of explain to them what we want, but to prepare them for what we do, not only in lunging, but also when we ride. This encourages the horse to stretch through its neck, over its top line, through its hindquarters, and in turn improves the gait and rhythm of the horse, and back up through the hands, and it all circulates over and over again. But that only means that you have to keep that circulating over and over again. You can't just give up on your horse, so you constantly have to be there with your horse. I call that being in the moment. And here's a good boy. I didn't have to pull on those reins to get him to stop, which is always nice. I actually love working in hand, even like showmanship or anything like that. So he's pretty good about staying with me or following me around. It's just because something we've always worked on. To me, it's very important to have respect on the ground before you do anything up top. We got some licking and chewing. I saw him lick there. He's thinking about it. You can see he seems more stiff to the side, and that holds true. If you can see it, he grows a little bit differently on this side, on his front right. It grows straight down. His heel grows straight down versus growing a little bit out and down. His heel goes straight down, so he becomes tight on that side. And also he does have ring bone on his right pastern, his front right pastern, so he tends to get a little more stiff on that side. I remember this day was actually pretty warm, so you'll see him hold his tail out a lot. He's trying to cool himself off. I don't like to do small circles in work in hand unless I really need to, or if there's something um, that I need him to do for me. Otherwise, I like to work on a long straight and then do our small curve here back to the quarter line, because usually sometimes I might ask for a yield over to the wall. I do have to say our work in hand has improved, but I need to work on keeping that connection through the work in hand, through my hands to the bit. I do realize that they go slack a lot. And lunging is not our forte either, but here we go. So the purpose of lunging after work in hand is to, again, encourage him to use their back end away from us. So now they're working away from us and they have to understand what that means. And here he's just being a little fun. He wanted to go say hi to Emily. She's holding the camera right now. And I want to give a shout out to her. She's been very helpful in taking this video, and she also too is starting the Art2Ride training with her horses. This is probably like my 5th time using a long lunge whip. I used to use a really short one, and I'd walk beside Spirit pretty close, like how we do work in hand until he starts to trot or canter. Here our reins got a little messed up. I had to fix them. They're still a little sloppy. I apologize. But as long as they're not dragging the ground or interfering with his head or neck, I don't see any point in trying to get him totally wrapped up around there. And here we go. This year is probably the first year I've actually gotten a confirmed stretch at the walk in the lunge. So any type of however long he wants to hold it down there is good enough for me at this point. Most of the time he feels so good about it, he just goes right into a trot. So I encourage him through here, and you can see that back is slowly starting to come up a little bit as we go here. It's kind of bouncing a little bit, or that swinging, but it's not quite there yet. And again, it's really hard for him to do that. When you lunge, you want to make sure that you keep that connection on your lunge line to the bit. Here we get a little, I get a little floppy. I need to stop moving and just get that connection, and then once he gets used to it, once he wants to keep it, then I can start moving if I need to. You want to keep that whip to encourage him to use, not only to get away from you to go onto the contact, but you want to use it to also encourage his hindquarters to be engaged more. It's not just a tool to fling around or to whack them if they're being misbehaved, which you should really never do. It's really a tool to encourage them not to, for lack of a better word, abuse them, really. Here we got a nice stretch. I get really excited. I kind of try to encourage him a little bit more. I notice when I'm with him, my walking, it kind of matches his a little bit as we go along here. And we go this way for a bit more. As you can see, he's starting to stretch really nice into that contact. And I noticed that he actually probably is tight in this workout. Actually, I do know that a couple of days after this workout, I noticed Spirit was just moving a little more stiff than usual, especially through his neck. And I'm a certified massage therapist, so I went ahead and did some work on him, and he was definitely sore. He was laying into me as I was going through the works on him, and so he definitely was stiff. So I would have to say most of the time when he doesn't want to stay in that stretch, something probably is a little tight, but that's why we're doing this, so he can learn to be loose and relaxed instead of stiff and stagnant moving. Our chart's becoming better, and our walk is becoming better. Our gaits are having more rhythm to them. He's becoming I wish I had videos of him before in here. His trot was just not fun at all to ride, and it was really hard. It was really hard to get over what it was to what it is now. It was a trot that he would literally throw you up out of the saddle, but you'd come back into a hole, and so it was really hard to hold your own seat in that trot. But now I feel when he is coming up through the back, when I sit down from the post, it is not in a hole anymore. It is like riding a cloud, and that cloud gently pushes me up, and then I gently sit back down the cloud over and over again when we're risen in the back, and he's working through the bit, through my hands, through my seat, through his hindquarters, and it will all circulate over and over again. Here you can see him take a couple missteps there. There are actually stones in this arena. We just got new sand in here, and it wasn't really quite what they had ordered, so there's these huge stones everywhere. Everyone did their best to pick out what they can, and we're still kind of picking out some larger rocks, but I can feel them a little bit later on when we ride. I can feel them take a little off step when we go, but just every great once in a while. See there, he does a little head bob again. It's a combination of the stones and the arthritis and the front right. Emily is doing such a nice job videotaping. Here, Spirit, I'm trying to encourage him to move out a little bit, but he probably just feels so good at that stretch and at that rhythm that he doesn't want to, or he doesn't feel comfortable yet, or it could possibly be that he just physically can't, and he's just trying to tell me this is what I can do right now. So you have to listen to your horse, and you have to kind of take into your own consideration, as much as you want your horse to be at the finished product, you have to take for what you have right now and what you can accomplish. And I recognize that, so I stopped pushing him here, and I just let him kind of do his thing. And there he goes into a stretch. See, actually right there, he went down, and he almost wanted to go into the contact, but it wasn't quite there. You saw him, instead of going straight down, he wanted to actually go a little bit in front of the vertical, but as he went in front, he brought his head back up. So it's definitely getting closer and closer here. And it's a little deceiving here. His blaze on the side makes it look like he's behind the vertical, but that's why I actually leave the capstan around his nose, so that not only can I see as part of the bridle, but so that you guys can also see his actual front of his face, not the illusion that he's behind. And unfortunately, when I first got him, we had to ride him in a pelham, and actually we did a 2-bit bridle, a full bridle on him, because that's what you had to use to ride him with to control him. He was just that nervous, or he wasn't uncontrollable, he just didn't understand, and he was just worried, and he was just a very big try-hard, and I didn't need that. So, but now he's in a D-ring snaffle, which again I never thought possible. here we are at the Canter. It's nothing really too fancy, you know, we're just going around here. It actually is a huge step for him to even lower his head and to think about going into the contact here at the Canter. He would usually canter with his head up high, his back completely inverted, and look like a giraffe. And we've all been there, we've seen those horses. Yeah, well, that was Spirit. But it's not us anymore. Actually, I was really happy about this. We're going to quit here in just a second, and we're going to get on and ride. Oh, he was such a good boy. Yeah, see, he's such a good boy. The one thing I do know I need to work on personally is my seat. This isn't the correct seat, you know. I mean, my hands are wide, obviously. It's just because I'm working on something else other than just having a perfect seat 24/7. I'm trying to encourage my horse into the contact from raising up his, not raising, dropping his back. At the Art2Ride clinic, Will had taught me how to sit back and to stop Spirit from hollowing out. So when I lean back, I'm actually trying to make a correction from behind, so that keeps the hind quarters still going underneath of him rather than being left behind. What that means is that they again become kind of disconnected and they seem apart from the body instead of under the body, or behind the body, I should say. So what we look for when this is a warm-up at the ride, the walk. Here I'm doing a little yield over, and you can see I changed my seat and Spirit brought his head up. So it's just all something that comes with, it's just the beginning of a leg yield, you know. He's gonna do some funky things until he figures out what I want. But it's the same concept. When you leg yield, you're asking for them to step and cross over, and that encourages more engagement through the back and the top line, and for them to contract their abs to perform a more advanced movement, and that helps us in developing their top line muscles. But you have to do it correctly. Him bringing his neck up does not help at all. But that's why we're only doing baby ones. As you see, I don't try to do it from one corner to the next corner of the arena. I actually get my leg yield shorter and shorter here. Instead of turning at the center line, I turn closer to the quarter line here, and I will ask. And when you ask for a leg yield, your inside leg stays at the girth, and your outside leg goes back a little bit. Your shoulders will move with the horse's front shoulders. So your shoulders need to be turned slightly, just a slight turn slightly with the horse's shoulders, and then your hips are kind of opposite of that, just a little bit. But what that does is that opens up that rib cage for them to move over, kind of opening up a doorway for them to go into. And you also need to take up the outside rein so they know to go into the contact of the outside rein, and that's what we're having trouble with, Spirit and I, is taking into that contact of the outside rein. It's a good stretch right there. We got some licking and chewing on. Something good is happening. Now, not all licking and chewing is, means something, but it's always just nice to see that the mouth is active. Here he came up on me. We were trying to do a shoulder in, but it didn't quite go right, so I kind of aborted mission. We went back to just neutral. Here he comes up again. It is it's not only do I feel it when his head comes up, but almost right before you can feel his back drop and I start to lean back and then his head comes up, and it's like a never-ending battle. Here he got a little excited. I was like, Spirit, just wait. We're not there yet. He really wants to try it. As you can see, he is a very free mover at the walk. He has a very free walk, I guess, normally. I'm not actually pushing him right now. He just naturally wants to walk this fast or this elongated. We do this for quite a while here, so I'm just going to let you guys observe and just watch as we go through the next couple minutes of riding. I do need to fix my hands. They're a little bit too low right now. See, they come up, they just have a little too much rain here. I need to collect a little bit. And then when he goes down to a stretch, then I can widen them back out. And he does like to curl a little bit, and that is a problem that we've created from riding in the full bridles and trying to get him to that vertical collection, and by doing that he's actually learned to overbend a little, and that's what I'm trying to fix, and that's why we are also here as well. See, as we go, his trot changes when he stretches. And what we're looking for here, now that we can see the side of the horse, it's kind of hard when you're riding on him, but we're looking for the same angle space or the same stride space between the front two legs and the back two legs to make the same triangle. But as of right now, his front legs are making a slightly bigger triangle than his hindquarters, and that is because he is not fully engaging his hindquarters and his back. And you can see that also when his head comes up and down, not really having a constant stretch. And that's our next goal, is to have more of a constant stretch and a constant contact. I am actually pretty excited. There's a show coming up here the next few weeks, and we're just going to do training level, and I'm really excited to see the progress from this video. Hopefully I can get someone to videotape us, and to what our last training level video was, to see how much he's actually improved in his gaits here. Don't be discouraged. That's my problem, is that I get discouraged when I see so many horses progressing really well in this method, and here I am trying really hard with my rescue horse. He has high withers, he has a little bit of a sway back, and I don't have money to help fix those little bumps in his back, and he's getting older, and so many problems that I'm trying to erase. So we have a different horse, but I keep forgetting where all that started from, and then to right now. And that's the important part, is to remember from point A to point a billion to point infinity, wherever you end up should always be better than where you started. And if it's not, then you definitely need to change something, because something isn't working. And I can tell you one thing, it's not the horse. That was actually a really good leg yield. Oh my goodness, it has been a long day, guys. I guess it is a leg over, but in between these breaks, Spirit does actually get about a 2 to 3 minute walk of free rein, and then I get him back together and we do some more smaller exercises. I think here what I'm doing now is letting him stretch, and then I'll bring him up into more of a working frame. That's why I've stopped using the entire arena, I think. There we go. He's getting the idea. We're getting there. And here I'm trying to encourage a stretch or bring back up, one of the two. Okay, so we're encouraging a stretch, and then here in a couple strides and bring back up. Our walk isn't as forward as it was at the beginning, not as excitable, I guess. And here, bring them up slowly. And our walking, our rhythm hasn't changed, which is great. He used to, when I bring him up, he would get very stiff on me and actually shorten his stride, and that is not what I wanted. So it's just nice to actually see and feel him keep that same rhythm. He actually felt really good there at the stretch, so I wanted to encourage a trot, and we're going to do the same thing at the trot. He's a little tense through his neck, and again, like I said, I think about 2 days after this I went in and massaged him, and he was definitely stiff. So I don't know if it was because of this ride or something before, but he's been in a little bit more this summer because it's been very hot, and turning him out, he gets extremely sweaty outside, and I just don't want him to overheat, so I've been keeping him in longer than usual. But he works out of it pretty well here. And again, he is overbent. I'm trying to push him into the contact right now, as we come up and down from the stretch. he's trying to find an answer, and I'm trying to let him know that curling back is not the answer, and that when he actually stretches down and forward into the contact is when he will find that it is the most comfortable to be in, and then he'll want to continue to be into that position more and more, and the curling should cease. It also is said that when a horse does curl, you need to raise your hands up a little higher, and what that does is that they can't escape the contact, and so they have to find a different answer. It's all about finding answers to these questions. I'm obviously very happy right there. He actually did a really good stretch. He's actually doing a really good stretch right here. We're off of that stiff side. Now we can lengthen that stiff side out and work on the side that's not stiff. So you can see he's very more relaxed going this way. He's actually a very happy pony right now. This is actually very exciting to see. And like I said at the beginning, you'll start to see towards the end of our workout, our trot will change completely. He'll become more relaxed. He'll want to be in that stretching position. I still need to see a little bit more engagement through behind in his hindquarters. It's still kind of, it doesn't feel as much pulling as he is trying to push through his hindquarters, but it's a change that just doesn't occur overnight, so and again, I'm also trying not to, when he goes down in the stretch, I just don't want to take up too much contact because I don't want him to curl back. And next time, when we get into this point in time in our workout where he is stretching really nice, I'm going to keep encouraging him to move into the contact instead of trying to fall behind it, because that's what he's trying to do right now. And again, he was just stretching so nice, I just wanted to canter a bit. As you can see, I actually, my seat is actually a lot more quieter on him now than it ever used to be at the canter. It actually is a very nice canter to sit now. See, now he's beginning to stretch at the canter, come down, and that was just so good. We're going to go the other way. And we're going to canter the other way, and that should be the end of our workout. Alright guys, Spirit's going to walk around at a good stretch here for a bit, and then we're going to change direction. Or we've already done that, and we've cut it out of our video. I would say we cut it out of our video and started trotting, so he did actually walk around there for a bit before we just started off into going around and trying to canter this way again. It may look like in that canter transition, oh, we slipped on a rock there. That's why I warned you at the beginning of the video. Yep, that's okay. I'm working back down into just getting to relax, just okay, let's just forget about that. It might look like he bangs on the bit when we go into a canter. I actually loosen the reins because he doesn't like to be held in the face when he canters, especially when he begins to canter, because his head comes up and he's expecting that tension, and he's actually gotten a lot better about flinging his head up as he slowly and surely starts to stretch there. I'm getting some stretchy canter. And there actually are days where he will stretch, and he actually has so much better control over himself that I will let the reins go, and it's just really nice to finally have him at a point to where I don't have to hold him at the canter. He can do it himself. So that was actually a really good workout, and I want to thank everyone for watching, and see you next time on our submission 2.